Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to some more Apex. I hope you're having a very good day as always, and in this video I'm going to be ranking every single legend in Apex Season 4. Obviously, since Apex came out, we've seen so many changes in terms of what legends are considered to be good, what legends are considered to be trash, and we're going to be taking a look at all of those legends in this video, as well as the newly introduced Revenant in this video. If you guys do happen to enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And also, guys, my opinions most likely will differ from some of you because we're different and we have different opinions. So if you guys don't agree with me, the respectful thing to do is leave some constructive comments below. Don't just leave hate comments and tell me how I'm trash, because that's not productive and I will just block you. So please try to be mature, guys, in the comment section, and if you would rank certain legends differently from where I put them, let me know as well in a constructive way. So yeah, with that being said, let's take a look at my character tier list in Apex Legends for Season 4. Also, guys, real quick, I must plug my Discord server once again, because if you guys haven't joined my Discord as yet, what are you guys doing? Come join my Discord server right now. It's a really fun time, and I always ask you guys for video ideas and stuff in my Discord server, so it's a great way to interact with me, and it's also a very good way for me to interact with you guys. So come join, come say hi. It's a great time and you guys will have a very good experience in the server. So yeah, but enough talk, guys. Let's take a look at this character tier list for Season 4. Alright, so let's start things off with Bangalore. Now, Bangalore to me has always been a very good legend. She's never really been bad. She's always just had a very solid place in the Apex Legends meta, right? Now in Season 4, Bangalore is still that very solid and dependable legend to use in this game. A passive ability basically alerts you when you're being targeted by an enemy, and you actually pick up in speed, and you also have an in-game cue to let you know that someone is targeting you, right? It's basically Wraith's passive ability, but much better, because Wraith doesn't actually increase in speed. All you have is an in-game voice, but Bangalore actually also has an increase in speed as well as an in-game voice telling her that she's being targeted as well. So it's a very good passive ability, and I think it's always going to be useful in this game. Her tactical ability is obviously Smoke, and this has proven to be useful in many situations in Apex. If you're trying to res your teammate, if you're trying to loot, if you're trying to get your teammate's banner, it's just overall a very good tactical ability to use, because most enemies will not see you, and you can get away with so many different plays if you actually know how to use this smoke. Now this can be easily countered if someone has a digital threat sight, so that's one downside to using this, but for the most part it's just a very good way to confuse your enemies and get away from your enemies as well in any gunfight or in any situation. So it's also a very good tactical to use. Taking a look at her ultimate ability, it's basically kind of like Gibby's ultimate in the sense that it rains down missiles from the sky and it does damage to enemies, right? So that's her ultimate basically. It's pretty good, not the best, but it's just an average ultimate to use, right? So taking a look at Bangalore as a whole, looking at every single one of her abilities, I can safely say that she's either going to be a B tier legend or an A tier legend, right? The only thing we really haven't talked about as yet is how viable is Bangalore going to be in ranked, because obviously ranked is a good test to see just how good a legend is, right? And to be honest, guys, she's not that viable in ranked, because many skilled players know how to actually deal with Bangalore effectively. For example, right, many skilled players know how to deal with Bangalore's smoke, which is why you don't see many people actually using Bangalore in ranked, because she's just not that good against very good players in this game. Most of them know how to deal with her, and yeah, you will most likely not see much use. You won't really get the use that you would get in ranked, as opposed to if you were just playing some regular pubs, right? So that's why I'd actually put Bangalore as a B tier legend, because although she's very good in pubs, in a competitive environment like ranked, she's just not that useful, because enemies know how to effectively take her out and deal with her, right? So yeah, Bangalore is a B tier legend. Moving on to Bloodhound, who was actually buffed in Season 4. His passive ability tracks enemies. You get to see their footprints and stuff. It could be useful. His tactical ability allows you to scan an environment and see all enemies, all enemy equipment and stuff like that. And this is the most useful part of Bloodhound's kit, in my opinion, because your teammates also see all of this stuff, when Bloodhound uses this scan. And his ultimate ability is called Beast of the Hunt, and this was actually buffed in Season 4. So this ability not only allows you to see through walls and stuff, it also increases your speed as well. And with Season 4, this ability was actually buffed. So when you get a kill in the Beast of the Hunt, you actually get more time to use this ultimate, which makes it very, very effective, and it can be a very dangerous ultimate to come into contact with. Now, even with all that being said, I still don't think that Bloodhound really has what it takes to be a very competitive legend in this game. Even though the Season 4 buff makes him a lot more viable, in pubs at least, he really cannot compete in ranked because he will just get clapped if he even tries to compete in ranked. So yeah, I think that Bloodhound is one of those legends that is just very fun to use. Like, I think he's one of the most fun legends to use in this game, but in terms of actually being effective, I would say that he just doesn't really have what it takes to be an S tier or an A tier legend. So because of that, he's gonna also be a B tier legend on this list. Alright, so now let's take a look at Caustic. Caustic's passive ability allows him to see through all of his gas attacks. His tactical ability is obviously his gas trap, which is actually very useful, and his ultimate ability is his gas grenade, a huge area of effect gas grenade that is very annoying to actually deal with if you're playing this game. So that's basically Caustic's entire kit. Now, I think that everyone can agree that Caustic is one of the most annoying legends to play against in this game, mainly because his gas abilities make it very difficult to basically do things and be aggressive and stuff. Like, Caustic kind of forces you to have to play a bit more defensively, especially if he places his gas traps very strategically as well, right? So Caustic actually has the ability to force players to play a certain way if that person actually knows how to use Caustic. He's obviously a very tactical legend, Caustic, and he most likely will be the biggest pain to aggressive players in this game. So if you're aggressive, then you know just how annoying Caustic could be. Now, Caustic is actually used a bit in ranked. He's obviously not used as much as like Path and Wraith and stuff, but you still will see Caustic now and then in a ranked match, right? So he is pretty much viable in a competitive environment if you know how to use him. And I've personally come across some very good Caustic players who just know how to use him, and even if you're the best player in the game, you will get caught off guard by a Caustic trap every now and then, right? So he is a very dangerous legend because his gas traps as well as his ultimate can turn the tide in a gunfight. So because of this, I'm actually going to put Caustic as an A tier legend, mainly because of what we just discussed. His gas traps really force players to play a certain way. Like, you can put gas traps by a Wraith portal, by a Revenant totem. You can really do some very nice plays if you know how to use Caustic. And because of this, and because of how easily these traps can turn the tide in a gunfight, I think he deserves to be an A tier legend. So Caustic is going to be placed as an A tier legend on my list. So now let's take a good look at Crypto. Crypto's tactical ability is obviously his drone. His passive ability is also tied to his drone because it allows your teammates to see where everyone is. It actually marks enemies as well, kind of like what Bloodhound's ability does. And his ultimate ability is the drone EMP. Now, the biggest issue with Crypto, to be honest, is that if someone actually manages to take out his drone, he's completely useless. Like, Crypto has no abilities if his drone has been taken out, and he's basically a dummy just running around, you know, being kind of useless, right? So that's honestly the biggest flaw of Crypto, because although they actually increase the health of the drone and they try to buff him in so many different ways, although he's really fun to use, and if you know how to use him very well, you could still be very effective with Crypto. I think on a general basis, he's just not as effective as other legends in this game. Not in ranked, not even in pubs. In ranked, he can be useful because I've actually seen players pull off some insane plays with Crypto in ranked, but again, on a general basis, overall, he's not that effective as a whole in Apex. So I'm gonna go ahead and place Crypto as a C tier legend in this video. Don't be upset with me, guys, it's just my opinion. He is still very fun to use, but he's just not that competitive right now, at least in this game. Gibby, however you pronounce his name. Gibby has always been a very good legend. He's always been useful, always been effective, and I think he's always going to be useful in this game unless Respawn actually decides to to nerf him, right? But right now I think he's a very effective legend to use in this game. He's used in ranked a lot, he's obviously used in pubs, and overall he's just a good legend to use, right? So let's take a look at his abilities. His passive is his gun shield that blocks incoming shots. This is extremely useful to use but extremely annoying to play against, if you guys know what I mean. His tactical ability is his dome that basically provides protection for you and your team, and this was buffed because now you actually revive your teammates a lot faster if you revive them in the dome. So that's a big buff right there. And his ultimate ability is very similar to Bangalore's in that it basically drops missiles from the sky that slows you down and also deals damage to enemies. So I actually think that Gibby is one of the most broken legends, if not the most broken legend in the game, because he basically absorbs damage because of all of these abilities. He has a gun shield, he might have a bigger hitbox, but he also takes less damage as well. He has a dome and he revives his teammates faster in the dome, and he's just overall a very good legend for anyone to use. Like, he's very effective, and whenever I actually use Gibby in this game, I always do good. So yeah, Gibby is not only good in pubs, he's also really good in ranked, and he's just a very good addition to any team in Apex. So because of this, he's going to be our first S tier legend in this video, and I think most of you guys will understand why Gibby is an S tier legend. It's because he's just extremely effective. To me, there's just not many downsides when you're actually using Gibby. If you guys go right now and watch any Twitch stream by any pro player in Apex, they all complain about Gibby being way too good in this game. So that should say something. He's very effective, and that's why he's an S tier legend in this video. Alright, so now let's take a look at Lifeline. Lifeline to me is one of the most integral part of any ranked squad because her abilities make her very useful and very helpful to your team. Her passive obviously allows you to revive teammates faster as well. She also has a shield wall, and she also uses healing items 25% faster, which is always going to be useful. Her tactical ability is the healing drone that obviously gives health to you and your teammates, and her ultimate ability is the care package. So all of these abilities, in my opinion, just makes Lifeline a very good legend to use in ranked, because obviously in ranked it's extremely competitive as well, and having someone like Lifeline to give you that support is very good. So whether you need some health, whether you need to be revived, Lifeline is always going to be there. Well, if your teammate is actually a good Lifeline, Lifeline should always be there to actually help you out with those things. And also, if Lifeline has a gold backpack, it makes her even more effective in reviving teammates, because not only can she rest them faster, but your teammates also will get up with health already, which makes it a very good combination to use Lifeline with a gold backpack. Obviously, she's not a very offensive legend. That's not her role. She's not aggressive. Her role is to be defensive and basically give support to her team, and she does that very well. So because of this, I'm actually going to put Lifeline as an A tier legend in this video. I think she deserves it. She's a very good legend, and the support that she gives to any team is just very beneficial for that team. So because of this, Lifeline is going to be an A tier legend. Mirage. Alright, so for some reason Mirage is just a very popular legend to use in this game. Like, people just love to use Mirage, right? And to be honest, I'm not a big fan of Mirage. I don't use him that much, or if at all, but we're still gonna rank him and give him a fair trial in this video, right? So taking a look at his passive ability, he basically goes invisible when you down him for 5 seconds. His tactical ability allows him to send out a decoy that basically mimics all of his actions when you send out the decoy, and his ultimate ability allows him to go invisible while sending out multiple decoys. Now, those abilities might sound very effective, but I think by now most players know very well how to actually deal with Mirage, especially pro players. Like, if you're going ranked right now, Mirage basically will be useless because many pro players, many skilled players in this game just easily know how to deal with him. Mirage also really doesn't have much team value. Like, all of his abilities are centered around himself, helping himself, going invisible, and it's just not really that beneficial to your team as a whole. And this game is very much about helping out your team and having good team play. It's very easy to spot a Mirage decoy. His passive is also kind of useless because everyone knows that he's going to be invisible for 5 seconds and they'll just wait for you to come out. And while his ultimate can be useful, you can still hear footsteps even if you're invisible in this game, which means that enemies could still hear you and they still can track your footsteps even if you use your ultimate, right? So yeah, Mirage is still one of the most fun legends to use in this game. I've always said that, but he's just not that effective, at least not right now, in the state that he is in. So because of that, he's also going to be getting a C tier rank in this video. Alright, so taking a look at Octane. Octane to me has what I call the Bloodhound effect, which basically means that this character is very fun to use. The abilities look really good, but they just don't really translate that well into actual gameplay. That to me is the Bloodhound effect, because Bloodhound is very fun to use as well, but just not that effective, right? Octane's passive allows him to recover health over time, which can be useful if you don't have that much syringes and stuff, but because you recover health so slowly, it just doesn't really become that practical to actually depend on this passive ability, right? His tactical ability is his stim, which takes away some of his health but also gives you a huge increase in speed, and his ultimate is his launch pad. Now these abilities can be very useful, especially his stim. If you're trying to get away from enemies, trying to get behind cover and stuff, it's very good to like evade and escape a situation. And I've also seen some very good Octane players who know how to take advantage of his stim and just be very effective using it, right? The biggest issue with Octane is that he just doesn't really do anything special. Like, yes, he has the stim, yes, he has a launch pad as well, but it just isn't that effective, and he doesn't really offer up that much team value as well. So he isn't by any means a bad legend to use, he just isn't great as well. He's just kind of like an average mediocre legend to use right now in this game. So I'm gonna give Octane a B tier rank in this video. If you guys like to use him, that's great. He still is very fun to use, but in terms of being very effective and actually having some kind of like value in this game, it's just not that, you know, beneficial to use Octane right now, at least. So that's why he's gonna be a B tier legend on my list. Alright, so moving on to Pathfinder, who still is one of the best legends in this game. His passive allows you to scan survey beacons and actually see where the next ring is going to be, which is always very useful, especially in ranked. His tactical ability is his grapple, and his ultimate ability is his zipline. I think the reason that Pathfinder is so useful in this game is really because of his movement. Like, you can do so much stuff with the grapple and the zipline, and just you can get from point A to point B in such a short period of time because of his movement, right? He also has insane team value because of his zipline and his ability to actually scan survey beacons and see where the next ring is going to be. But he also has insane value as a solo player as well, and I think that that's what makes a very good legend in this game. Can you help your team, but also can you help yourself? And Path can do both. He's a very good team player. As I said, he's extremely good in ranked and stuff, but he's also a very good solo player if you're being a rogue and just doing your own thing, right? So that's why Path is so high up on my list. I'm actually going to put him as an S tier legend in this video because there's really no big downside to using Pathfinder in this game. His abilities and his movement obviously give him the edge in so many different scenarios. That's why he has an S tier rank in this video. Alright, so let's take a look at Revenant. Revenant is the brand new legend in this game, just released with season 4, and although it's still very early to be talking about him, I think we all have a pretty good idea of what type of legend Revenant is and is going to be. Revenant's passive ability allows you to crouch walk faster and also climb up walls higher. Now, because you can actually crouch walk faster, when you're crouching you also have insane strafe speed. So Revenant actually has the fastest crouch strafing speed in the game. His tactical ability allows you to disable enemy abilities for 10 seconds, which is very useful, and his ultimate is obviously his death totem. Now, to me, the only big downside to Revenant is that his death totem is trash. Like, it really isn't that useful, and the reason I say it's trash is because when you actually use it, you only have your health, and your shield is not counted as shields in your shadow form, right? So you only have 100 health in shadow form, and when you die, you obviously return to the totem with no health and whatever shield you had. Now, to me, this is very useless because when you actually use the totem, it's very easy to kill you. And even when you return to the totem, it's still very easy to kill you. So it's not a win-win. You're always going to be weak. And honestly, I think it just needs a buff. I think his ultimate needs a buff. Now, his tactical ability and his passive ability are both very good. And I think that makes up for his lack of a useful ultimate. Because his passive makes you stray faster, which is actually very useful. Like, I have won so much gunfights in this game because of how quickly you actually crouch strafe with Revenant. And surprisingly, climbing up walls higher is also very effective. His tactical ability is insane because obviously you disable enemy abilities for 10 seconds, which is always going to be useful. You can stop Gibby from using his dome, you can stop Wraith from queuing away, so this silence ability is very effective. So overall, I think I'm going to put Revenant as a B tier legend because his passive is great, his tactical is great, his ultimate is slightly trash, but if they actually buff his ultimate, he could become an A tier legend very easily. But until then, Revenant will remain as a B tier legend on my list. Moving on to our second to last character, which is Wattson. Now you guys may have seen Wattson being used a lot in ranked, and there's a very good reason why pro players like to use her so much in ranked. Let's take a look at her passive. Her passive allows ultimate accelerants to fully charge her ultimate, which is always going to be very useful. Also, standing next to her ultimate, her interception pylon also allows your tactical ability to recharge faster as well. Now her tactical ability is obviously her fences, which is very good for securing an area, for locking down an area, which is exactly why she's used so much in ranked, because it's just very good to have a Wattson who can lock down an area for you and your team. If enemies pass through her fence, they will be stunned and they will also take damage. And her ultimate is the interception pylon that repairs shields as well as destroys any incoming grenades. So the reason why Wattson is used more in ranked and she's honestly barely used in pubs is because that level of skill isn't needed in pubs. Like, you don't need to be that sweaty in pubs and place all these fences down. It's just not that serious, right? But in ranked, a Wattson is very useful. I'm actually going to place Wattson as an A tier character because she's extremely good in ranked. She's honestly invaluable to have in ranked, but because she doesn't have that much value as a solo player, I'm not going to give her an S tier rank, because most of Wattson's value honestly comes from being a team player and helping out your team. Other than that, she doesn't really have that much solo value. Even with that being said, she's still a very effective legend to use in this game, and that's why she has an A tier rank in this video. Alright, so last but not least guys, we have my main, who is Wraith. Wraith is the most used legend in this game, and there's a very good reason for that. So as I said before, right, a good legend is dependent on being able to actually have solo value and also have good team value as well. That's why I gave Gibby an S tier, that's why I gave Path an S tier as well. So let's just take a look at Wraith's abilities and see where she'll actually rank. Wraith's passive ability is basically a warning when you're being shot or being targeted. It's just a voice cue. It's not like Bangalore where you actually move faster. All you have is a voice cue saying that you're being targeted. Her tactical ability is obviously her phase, which is extremely useful, guys. Now, Respawn actually decided to nerf this recently for some reason. I don't know why, but they actually increased the cooldown for that ability by 10 seconds. So that is a very big nerf. It's no longer as useful as it used to be, but it still is effective. And her ultimate is obviously her portal, right? Now, Wraith has very good solo value because of every single one of her abilities. Like, all of her abilities are very good for a solo player, right? You can phase away if you're being shot, you have your passive to let you know if someone is aiming at you, and the portal also has great solo value as well. For example, if you want to loot someone in the storm, you can just place a portal down, loot the person, then get back out of the storm. So she has very good solo abilities. Now the great thing about Wraith is that her ultimate ability specifically is also very good for your team. The Wraith portal is very good to help your team get from point A to point B, to revive a downed teammate, to get a teammate's banner. It's just always very good to use Wraith's portal to help your team, right? And there's a reason why you see Wraith being used in pubs and in ranked as well. Wraith is used everywhere, not just in ranked, also in pubs, right? So she's a very good aggressive legend for a solo player, but she's also a very good tactical legend for a team player in ranked. So with that being said, I might be a bit biased because Wraith is my main as well, but I'm still gonna give Wraith an S tier rank in this game. Even with the unnecessary nerf to her phase ability, I still think she's a highly competitive legend in this game. She has great team value, but she also has great solo value as well. So once again, Wraith gets an S tier rank. Anyway guys, thanks so much for watching this video. If you actually made it throughout this entire video and you made it to this point, then you are a real one, because this was by far my longest video ever recorded on this channel. So yeah, big ups to you if you actually watched this entire video. Once again guys, let me know how you would actually rate all of the legends in this game. Let me know, I want to know, and I'll see you in some more Apex. Till next time.